To introduce myself, I'm Bruce Scanlan. I have been working for the district, as Chris said, here for about 3.5 years now, and I've been learning a lot. I think that it's not my fault that the drought has happened. Please. Maybe, I don't know. I also do want to thank Chris and the Watershed Council and Reese as well with Think Wild and Beaverworks for doing all the work and the others that were involved in this process. This is kind of a neat opportunity. I think it's a good resource for the community to have the opportunity to get informed, to learn, and to have conversations about those things that are of vast importance to us as a community. And obviously, I feel very strongly about water as a vital resource as well. So I was given a few minutes. I think they said 10 minutes. Is that what they told you? Okay. So I'm going to take 2, and they can have like 50. I do want to tell you a little bit about Ochoco Irrigation District, the history behind some of Ochoco Irrigation District, and bring us up to some present time. OID was formed in 1916. OID is a conglomeration of the original irrigation companies, little ditch companies, and private irrigators that were in the Prineville Valley, that at the time thought that it was best to get together and create a kind of a co-op to manage the water resource in the area, and most importantly to capitalize on the high spring runoffs and build a reservoir. And out of that is the work that went into Ochoco Dam. Ochoco Dam was completed by the district. It was originally projected from a bureau study, and the bureau was a little bit too busy doing other projects at the time, so the district decided, well, we'll just do it. We're familiar with mining techniques, and so they hired mining companies to go sluice through hydraulic fill methods the hillsides around, and brought material in and built Ochoco Dam. And it was completed in 1920, and it leaked like a sieve. They went through the Depression, the 30s, the 40s, and ended up being bankrupt for a part of the time. It's not a wonderful past, but they tried to irrigate too many acres out of a reservoir that was not very dependable, that leaked, and eventually had to have the state bail them out. Until 1960, when the Crooked River Project was realized, and Prineville Dam, now later called Bowman Dam, after A.R. Bowman, the judge that was instrumental in its construction. The district was much, much smaller than it currently is right now. After the construction of Bowman Dam, the current irrigated acres within the irrigation district boundaries is just over 20,000 acres. So the majority of what you see north of the Crooked River and all the way east to Ochoco Reservoir, north to the bottom of Mackay lands and up to Forester Farms towards Grizzly is the area roughly of the irrigation district. OID also has about 900 patrons that we serve within the irrigation district. We have 2 reservoirs. We have about 120 miles of canals, ditches, pipelines that we operate. We also have over 30 pumps that we operate and maintain, some of them over 500 horsepower. And we lift water at various points through the Prineville Basin to get to the bench lands and then drop it onto other areas of the district. Irrigated agriculture within the Prineville Valley and in our community is a primary source of the economic driver for the community, and it always has been. It's kind of the basis for how our community was founded, and the way that our forefathers came into this land to live and be sustained off of the land. And that's part of what drives us. It's at the heart of the very fabric of most of the members of our community, is that farming, ranching, the production of irrigated agriculture is a big piece of who we are as a community, I believe. But the current drought that we're experiencing right now, it's pretty extreme. I'll let Kyle talk probably a little bit more about some of the specifics of it. I'm sure he's got some better details on it. But from OID's perspective, there really isn't much worse year on record than what we're dealing with right now. OID has storage, water in both Ochoco and Prineville reservoirs, and we also have water rights on the creeks and streams within the area. But everything that we have is a surface water right. And if you're familiar with this basin, the surface water in this basin is extremely volatile, meaning that we have high spring runoffs, and then now on the Crooked, on Ochoco, on Mackay, things are drying up. It's almost, there's no water in those reaches at this point. So that's why those reservoirs are so vital, and stored water is so vital to this community to be able to irrigate. Irrigators are sacrificing a great deal right now when it comes to the effects of the drought. The water right for the irrigators in Ochoco Irrigation District is a 4 acre-foot water right. So 4 feet of water per acre is what they're allocated with their state water right. In April, the district board set the allocation at 0.5 acre-feet, or 6 inches of water. So a difference, it's 12.5% of what their water right was. Thank God for wet spring, May and June, and the blessing that we had of the amount of rain that occurred, because it has significantly extended our irrigation season. Not that it hasn't slowed some of the growth of things either, because the temperatures are so cold, but it has significantly prolonged it, increased our storage, and it's allowed us to be able to do some things that we sure did not anticipate. And one of those is to increase the allocation up to 1 foot. So now irrigators are operating at a 25% of what their water right is for this irrigation season. Ochoco and Prineville reservoirs, at the end of the irrigation season, around in the September time, will essentially both be close to empty. I don't know how else to say it. There's just not going to be much water available after the irrigation seasons are done. The toll of this drought is huge on irrigators, our farmers, our fish, and our furry friends. There's no question about that. And I appreciate the chance to meet with all of you, to chat, to get to know you a little bit better, answer questions. And I hope that you'll join us in our work as we continue to help to protect this vital resource for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. I did have a question that came in from the website, specifically for Bruce, and we'll try to ask them as the presenters finish their talks. So Bruce, how does flood irrigation compare to other forms of irrigation in regard to efficiency of water use?
It depends. Depends on who and where, and a lot of variables. I could probably hand this over to Jim Wood to talk about flood irrigation, and he could give us all a clinic, because flood irrigation, rightly applied in the right area, is an asset, and it is a good way to apply water, and it gives you the ability to use that water on one area and recapture it in another area, whereas with sprinkling in certain applications, that's not necessarily true. So I would say, I don't want to try to be all political or anything, but it really does depend on what's most efficient for that application. Different soil types, where you're at, groundwater levels, all those factors come in, and so I think we could have a very lengthy discussion about that question. In general, from OID's perspective, we encourage sprinkling over flood irrigation for a vast majority of the circumstances that we're in.
Thank you, Bruce.